It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Big Guy Sports Radio Show. Your home for New York sports.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Big Guy Sports Network, primetime sports in New York here on July 7th, 2020. We'll be live today, as always, from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Jim, along with my co-host, Mac. How are you doing today, Mac?
Listen, I am so stoked for the show tonight. I mean, I've been working on a lot of stuff today. We got a Mets writer coming in. I just got in contact with him. He's going to be a guest. I'm reaching out to a lot of different writers, and I'm getting great responses. And tonight, guys, we have one of the most legendary boxing promoters in the history of boxing who has a fight tonight on ESPN, the main event. He's going to be joining us here in a few minutes, Mr. Bob Arum. And, man,
Don't
this
give
guy,
all of my intro.
I won't. I'm just excited, Jim. You know how much I love boxing? And I mean, if you want to talk boxing, Bob Arum is right in the beginning of the conversation, all the fights he's done. So I just can't wait to get him on. We're going to be calling him here in a few minutes and be talking to a legendary promoter, which would be great. So
what did you do today? Tell us about your short day while you get ready to bring him in.
I was up at 5, and I was working on guests, working on sponsors. I was just working all day on trying to improve the show, as I always try to do, and as we all do, as you and Matty Ice does. So we're hoping to get the show up to another level. And with this guest today, we definitely will be doing that. So it's going to be –
Yeah, absolutely. So you're excited, and he's going to be coming on soon. And we got a lot of other stuff we're also going to talk about after we're done with our interview. We've got little hockey news, little baseball news, little football news. No basketball today, but we've got plenty of stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah. We even got hopefully we got time at the end of the show. We're into a new partnership with a great cause. We got some things. Birthday today, a huge birthday for Giant fans, and we got something else in history that if we have time left over, we'll be able to talk about that too.
Fit it in, so
if we can,
we won't run out of stuff to talk about.
Yes, I mean, we got plenty of stuff to talk about today, and of course, our great wits that we have. We'll have a little fun with stuff.
I have no humor today. No, just kidding. Maybe I have a little humor today. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. So,
yes.
Matty Ice is listening in. He's listening in somewhere. I know that.
Yeah.
Where he is, got his ear to the floor here, trying to see, because he told me. I said, I thought about today, saying, if you want to come on in my place, because he was, he was feeling it. So
yeah.
So I guess like Mac had said, our first guest today, very special guest. If you follow boxing at all, and you haven't, crawled under a rock somewhere, it's almost impossible to not know who Bob Arum is. He is the founder and CEO of Top Rank Boxing, which is the biggest boxing promotion in the world. He is promoted some of the biggest fights ever: Hagler Duran, Hagler Hearns, Holyfield Foreman. The list goes on and on. I could sit here and read you the list, and that would take me a half hour at least. Right. I can't name them all. Just trust me. A lot of big ones, De La Hoya, all the greats. So, he's going to come on, give us a few minutes, took some time out of his day, which is a big deal because he has a fight tonight. There is a boxing fight tonight, which is on ESPN, is it not?
Yes, it is the main event. So, I mean, hopefully he'll be able to tell us about that and tell us what he expects tonight.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give him a ring. I'm going to call him up, and hopefully he picks up and we get the show going. And, we'll get right into it and see what he has to say.
That is great, Jim. So,
absolutely.
You mentioned
Verizon Wireless. The number you dialed has been changed, disconnected, or is no longer in service. If you have reached this recording in error, please.
Oh, it seems like I got an error. So let's go over that number again.
Okay, let me get it to you.
That number, because I just
this is radio at its finest right now.
Give me the number.
Yeah, I will. Here we go.
Texted him. So go through the text.
Yes, it did. So it's 712
371
371 5111.
That's what I dialed.
Well, give it a shot again.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. The number you dialed has been changed, disconnected, or is no.
I don't know. Check the text message instead of reading the number through somewhere else.
Okay, I will. I'll check it right now.
Verify what you're texting.
Right.
This is live radio. This is why this stuff happens. I mean,
Yes, it does. So, but okay. Here's the message. I messaged him again at 7017002.
Slow down. Start again.
702.
702.
Yeah, 702. 37. Right.
5111. See, you gave me that.
There you go. There you
go. And then it hung up on me. What in the world? We are having phone difficulty.
Try it again.
702-371-5111.
Yes.
Try again.
Because he tried to call me back just a minute ago. Baby.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Arum. How you doing? This is Jim with the Big Guy Sports Radio. How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to speak to us today. I know you have a fight tonight, so we won't keep you. We'll get right into it. And Mac, go ahead. He's got some questions.
How you doing, Bob? Great to finally talk to you on air. We talked a little bit before. What I want to start off with is just how you started in boxing promotion. I heard this great story of how the greatest running back of all time from the Cleveland Browns introduced you into boxing. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, well, I met Jim when I was looking for a commentator on the a Terrell Schiavalo fight. I was representing the company doing the closed circuit, and they weren't doing well with the fight. They asked me for a recommendation, and I said that we should get a black guy as one of the commentators, and that had never been done before. That was 1965, and there had never been a black person who was a commentator on a sports broadcast or even a news broadcast. And so they thought it was a good idea, and they had me look for someone. And through a friend, I got Jim Brown, who was then in his last year playing in the NFL. I didn't know that. Nobody knew at the time it was his last year. And Jim signed on to do it. We met in Toronto where the fight was being held. We became very good friends. And he said to me, you should be the promoter, not the lawyer for these guys.
Right.
You should be a promoter. And I said, well, I wasn't really interested in that. And he arranged a meeting for me, which happened 2 months later, with Muhammad Ali and his advisor, Herbert Muhammad. That's how I started. First fight I promoted, first fight that I ever saw in person was the Ali Schiavalo fight in March of 1966. And I've been in the business ever since.
That's a great story, Bob. I mean, when I researched it, I didn't believe that Jimmy Brown actually had a hand in this. It's incredible. When you promote
the company that we formed,
right? So when you go promoting a fight, Bob, I mean, just from that angle, when you promote a fighter, I know he has to have the skill, but does his personality come into play? You know, for example, like Ali or Tyson Fury, does that help you out? Does that make the fight more exciting?
Well, I don't know if it makes the fight more exciting or doesn't, but if the fighter has this personality, and of course Ali and Tyson, Fury, their personalities are off the chart.
Right.
Obviously, it helps the promotion, and in Ali's case, and maybe in Fury's case, it makes the promotion. But and it always helps for the fighter to have a really good charismatic personality. But some of my great fighters that I promoted didn't, and yet were box office stars, like Marvin Hagler, who was just a workman, great guy, but, not an over-the-top personality. Same thing with Bud Crawford, great fighter, great guy, but not a charismatic personality. But, it depends. You can't make someone what they're not.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, you're looking at the fights, and I mean, the list can go on and on of the fights you promoted with Sugar Ray, Hearns, Hagler, De La Hoya, Pacquiao. If you had to choose one fight out of all the big ones that involved two big names that was just really easy to promote and a lot of fun to promote, what would be your top choice?
Well, I would say Leonard Duran, the one in Montreal. That was a huge event. De La Hoya Trinidad. That was a good event, a big event, and it was easy to promote. Funny enough, in both of those events, the co-promoter was Don King, and he helped rather than hindered those promotions there. He made major contributions in both events. And then there were the great Ali fights that I promoted, particularly the second Ali Spinks fight, which was the highest rated television program for decades after that took place. So there's been a lot of high spots.
Excellent. Okay, so you speak about you just spoke about Don King, and during the early years of promotion, you had a lot of competition with Don King, and here and there they got heated. What's your relationship with Don now? Are you guys close?
Well, we're not close because, Don King is still Don King. He talks a good game, and then he relates it all to his support for Donald Trump, which to me is inconceivable. How does he talk about Black Lives Matter and equal rights and somehow say that affirms his support for Donald Trump? So at this point in time, King and I look at each other as aged warriors, and the only bone of contention we have now is his support for Trump, who I think is a terrible danger to this country.
Fair enough.
Okay, Bob, let me ask you a little bit about Terrence Crawford. Some people say he's pound for pound the best fighter in boxing. Do you see anything on the horizon for him soon?
Yeah, I think we would hope that he has a major fight this year, and I would love to match him with Manny Pacquiao, and maybe we can make that happen before the end of the year.
That would be excellent.
Excellent. We got a question from one of the listeners. They wanted to know, who do you see as the next future star in boxing? I mean, obviously you like Crawford, but if you could give us another name out there from one of the fans who's asking.
Well, I think Shakur Stevenson could be the coming star. Terrific fighter, great personality. He's won one world title and will soon compete for another. I would say Stevenson has a big chance. There's guys that we haven't heard of very much, but they're big names around the world, like Inoue, the Japanese champion, bantamweight champion, who they call the monster. I mean, he could be a huge star. We're gonna maybe this year or beginning of next year, we're gonna have a unification in the junior welterweight division, between Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, and the winner of that fight will be one of the big stars in boxing. And there's a guy fighting tonight on ESPN, Jared Anderson, a young 20-year-old heavyweight who can become the next big thing in the heavyweight division. There are a lot of guys. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya has this kid, Ryan Garcia, who people talk about as a future star. We have Teofimo Lopez, who will demonstrate that he is a superstar if he can beat Lomachenko later this year. So there are a lot of candidates for stardom.
Excellent. Well, I have one more for you, and then I'll turn it over to Mac, and I know he has one more for you as well. Assuming that, well, I hate to assume, but Fury gets by Wilder, how big of a fight could Fury versus Joshua be? Would that be one of the biggest fights?
Well, it'd be huge. I mean, I talked to some people in the UK that if they think that the pay-per-view numbers in the UK will exceed 4.5 million homes buying that fight.
Wow.
So for a country UK's size, that's just enormous. I think it'll do real well in the United States. It could very well be the biggest grossing fight of all time.
Wow.
But again, Joshua doesn't have an easy task with Kubrat Pulev, who he has to fight this year. And Fury and Wilder is not a gimme for Fury.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no problem.
So Bob, this is kind of a side note. It may even, I don't know if it's silly or not, but from a promotional standpoint, there's a lot of buzz about Iron Mike boxing exhibition matches. If he gets licensed, is that something that you might be interested in promoting?
No, I wouldn't be interested in promoting it. But, if he does some exhibitions, and there are exhibitions, and particularly if there's a charity element involved, I'm all for it. But right. I don't think at his age that Tyson should do real fights because as an athlete who's now much older than when he competed, that's the time that they take blows to the head that really affect them in their later life. So I wouldn't advise Tyson to do any real fights now, but if he does some exhibitions, and particularly if there's a charity element, I'm all in favor of it. But, I don't think I can add very much to that promotion.
Okay.
One more for you, Bob. You have the main event tonight, of course, on ESPN. Can you just tell us a little bit about your lineup tonight, please?
Well, we have, some really good fights. The kid who's fighting in the main event fought Jose Ramirez, the junior welterweight champion, and lost the majority decision. My guys are really high on him. They think he's a terrific fighter. He's matched very well. Andy Vences is in a very, very good fight. And that should be a terrific co-main event. And people will get to see, again, my young heavyweight, Jared Anderson, who I think is spectacular. And if you talk to Tyson Fury about him, Fury just raves about him all the time because it was Anderson sparring with Fury every day when Fury was prepping for the last fight with Wilder in February, which Tyson said really contributed greatly to his being in shape and prepared to do what he did to Wilder. So people should be interested in Jarrett Anderson, and they'll see him fight tonight.
Excellent. That's great stuff, and we're definitely looking forward to that. And I want to say thank you so much for coming on. We know you're really busy, and we appreciate you taking 10 to 15 minutes out of your day, and hopefully we can talk to you again in the future.
Okay, good talking to you.
Thank you, Bob.
Take care, Bob.
Goodbye.
That's excellent stuff. I mean, if you listen to you listen, I know that a lot of people, they say, oh, well, boxing isn't, what it used to be. But if you listen to him talk and you jot down some of those names and you look up some of those names that he mentioned, and he gets you excited. He lets you know there's still a lot of good fighters out there, and they just need to get that, they need to get that push to get to that next level so that we can learn to appreciate them, like the Terrence Crawfords and, Alexander, who asked the question before. He looked up Shakur Stevenson, Newark, New Jersey, from my backyard, 23 years old, 14-0, 8 KOs. And he talked about Anderson, who, is going to fight tonight, who he thinks is the next big, great heavyweight. So there are names out there that maybe, a lot of people don't take notice of at the moment, but who knows where they'll, in a year, those could be the names in your living room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you look at the ESPN main event card. There's boxing starting to come back all the time now, and that's the company that Bob's going through that's helping him promote these fights. Remember something, Jim? Boxing is not as big as it was back in the 70s or 50s, but it still has a very strong, very enthusiastic base. And hopefully
the way to get it back is to go through ESPN and stuff and find ways for people to tune in. And, a Tuesday night is not a bad night to have a fight. And, in fact, there's nothing else going on right now.
Right.
But,
so, I mean, they're kind of
live sports.
Right.
Oh, what time tonight on ESPN?
I think it's coming out at 7, but check it out. I think it starts at 7 tonight. So, I mean, listen, like I said, to have Bob or Arum come on, and even though we kind of had a problem connecting with him in the beginning there, to have him come on.
Number.
It's all right. Hey, listen. Anyways, to finally get him on and listen to he's a legendary promoter. I mean, he's the best that's ever done it. So for him to take some time and come out on our show has been we're new. We're not ESPN. ESPN, they got people calling and getting these guests on the line for them. And Patrick, we don't have that person yet. Right.
If I ask my wife to do that, she'd be like, "Okay, you going to pay me?" I mean, I don't have the. We got to do it ourselves. We got to bring
Right, exactly. And we've been making relationships, Jim, through all our things that we've been doing. And those relationships pay off.
Listen, you tell me what other show right now is out there, unless it's strictly a boxing show, is making an effort to even bring boxing to the forefront.
Right. I agree.
Alexander says 8 o'clock tonight.
8 o'clock tonight, folks.
ESPN. Watch the fighters, man. Anderson, you want to be there and say, I saw Anderson when he was coming up.
Right.
The time to go and see him, but that's good information. You can't thank him enough for, taking time out of his day, especially on a day when he's getting ready.
He's in a bubble right now, just waiting for that fight to start.
Right. That's even why you can't even thank him enough for coming on a night of the fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
So especially I add that to my resume. That's how big he is for the sport. Because that's the kind of person you interview and you put on your resume, interviewed Bob Arum, because everybody knows in boxing circles, who he is. And
all sports circles,
Right. So, I mean, and he mentioned, De La Hoya, which is a big thing because we didn't bring this up, but there was a time when him and De La Hoya had a very icy relationship, I know he fighting.
I know he promoted De La Hoya a lot and scheduled a rematch for him because he kind of lost the decision 2 times. But Oscar is a promoter now too. So I mean,
I know that he's one of the biggest promoters. I mean, you got King Arum and De La Hoya is one of the big ones. But there was a time when De La Hoya was a fighter that De La Hoya was always promoted by Arum, and then they had a little bit of a falling out. And it's nice to hear him mention him. He had some strong words to say about Don King.
Yeah.
And, he's basically, it is what it is. He says that Don King, he basically, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but he said he doesn't trust Don King because he said Don King's Black Lives Matter supporter, supposedly, but then votes for Trump. So he backs Trump. That's what he said. I can read
listen, they're both old warriors. They've been in competition for a long time.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know if I haven't looked up, I haven't talked to Don King, I haven't looked it up, but I'm saying that's a pretty accurate, not accurate. That's a pretty pointed statement that it would be conflicting. It was a little bit conflicting.
Listen, Bob Arum doesn't pull punches. He says exactly what he's feeling, what he's thinking. He's not going to come in and sugarcoat anything.
That was the best quote of the day. I didn't know where it was going when we asked it. I thought he was going to say something along the lines of, me and Don, because I know there was a time they were really bad with each other, and then they patched it up. And then I thought maybe he was going to say, we learned to exist. I didn't know where it was going. That's great stuff. That's the stuff that's the great stuff. Now I got to get Don on here. I got to respond. That's right. Right. So Tyrone says, what about a Garcia Davis fight? It sounds like there's a lot of great fights that can happen as long as the people get through who they got to get through. Like you heard it himself. He said, if Fury wins, and he's right. You can't just give Fury a pass over.
Well, he's promoting that fight too. So
you can't just say Wilder's going to get knocked over. You don't know. And then Joshua's got to get through his guy. If he gets through, though, he said that could be the biggest boxing fight ever because the UK will sell out that fight.
And the unification of the belts too, Jim, because Fury has one. I think Joshua has two of them. So if Fury and Joshua come together, that's going to be a unified world champion.
But you definitely can't put them. He's right. You definitely can't just assume victory because of the fact that if Wilder went into that last fight, with the whole this guy can't beat me and took it easy, he's definitely not doing it this time.
That's the truth.
He got knocked around and looked bad. And then the papers tore him to shreds about how he was claiming I'm the greatest heavyweight of all time. And then he just got beat. And not beat, he beat handily.
Tyson Fury was definitely ready for that fight. The first one, it was a draw. Some people thought Wilder won because he knocked him down and stuff. But I'll tell you, Fury is one big, great boxer. He's very unawkward to fight.
Faster than you would think looking at him because he's got that little belly, and I'm not taking away from his muscle because even though he might not flex and look like Tyson did in his prime, but make no mistake about it, when he punches, it hurts.
Well, not only that, he can hit you moving away from him when he's backing up. He can hit you coming in. He throws punches from different angles. It's very hard to defend.
Faster than he looks.
And when we even had our boxer, Iceman Scully on, we had Jack Hirsch on, they even said that he is so unawkward how he throws punches, it's almost impossible to defend yourself. So that's the unique thing about Fury.
I did rewatch the fight a little bit last night in clips just to kind of prepare for what was coming today. And I was looking at him, and he does kind of just wail a lot.
Yeah.
So it is a hard thing to defend because he's not. He's not like, well, I know he's just going to jab, and go to the body. He's all like, he's
moving and he's throwing punches and it's all from different angles.
100 pounds and he's
man. So
it's like a truck coming at you where it kind of like skids and the trailer's coming towards you and you got nowhere to move.
And you're not sure what to defend against. Yeah.
But that is great stuff. Matt continues to just bring in the guests. For a service, for a fee, he might share how. I don't know. Money talks. I don't know. Money talks. So,
no.
It is what it is. If you had, we're going to move on to the next thing. But as always, if you have a question or a point that has to deal with what we just talked about with Bob, normally I would have tried to bring some callers in while he was here, but I know he was pressed for time and he's got the ESPN thing going on. Our phone lines are open always, 732-716-2606. We're going to move on from boxing for a little bit and move on to the baseball. Now, I'm not going to go over the entire Met-Yankee schedule because we can do that on our baseball show Saturday when we have more time to just focus on baseball. But one of the highlights is they did release the opening night schedule, and there's a lot of intriguing games if you're a baseball fan for opening night. And we could sit here and talk about, will they play, won't they play? Well, listen, as long as they're still scheduled to play, we're talking like they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, they gave us a schedule to look at, right? I mean, there it is.
So let me throw some. There's just some intriguing game. Now we'll get more into this in the beginning because on Saturday, because I do want to talk about how the Mets have a murderous July. Like the Mets don't play the crap teams until August.
Right.
And, you could say, well, that's good. They'll get them down the stretch. Not if they go 10-20 in August, then it's not going to matter how many times they play the Orioles and the Marlins in September. I mean, the Mets have I messed up the months there. The Mets have a brutal August, as brutal as it comes. They got all the hard teams in August. But let me look. You got 2 games on the first day. July 23rd is opening day. The Yankees are going to the Nationals. This is a big matchup. The champs, Cole Scherzer, doesn't get more bigger than that. 7:00 under the lights. And then, we're all going to stay up. Well, maybe not you because you got to go to, we get to work from home. But Mac, he's got to actually go somewhere to work. Me, right. I boot up the computer and, call my boss and, have a 10-minute conversation. And then I just deal with customers all day, but I don't leave the seat. Mac's got to go somewhere. He's got people watching over him. He doesn't have like my wife can bring me buffet lunch. He doesn't get all that,
Not at all.
So I will stay up and watch the second game for you. And the second game, well, the 23rd is a Thursday. Yeah, so you'll be working. Second one's a good one too. I mean, I know the Dodgers are a favorite to win the title. They're the number one favorite. They have the best odds. And the Giants are like one of the worst teams in baseball. But still, when the Giants and Dodgers get together, people fight in the parking lot. Well, there ain't nobody in the parking lot this year. But you know my point. That's a big matchup. For them, that's Yankees Mets.
Right, exactly. Or Yankees Red Sox, same league. It's a big rivalry. So it's like Mets Atlanta Braves. That's a big rivalry game, and of course it's going to be the first game of the season. I'm excited because at least we got a schedule. We got something to look at and say these are the games.
Time we get information to sink our teeth into, right?
Oh my God, right? So it's like the regular season is happening and. Forget the virus for right now. So I'm excited.
I can talk about Jason Kidd getting interviewed. I need some.
Yeah.
And then you look at the 24th, which is Friday, which is opening day for everyone, and the Mets got a little honor here because just like the Yankees are the first team to hit the air on the 23rd, the Mets are the first team to start on the 24th at 4:00. Like home against the Braves. That's a big time matchup.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying no other team goes on till 6. So the Mets are like basically the center of attention for 2 hours, just like the Yankees are the center of attention. So New York is getting that push. And you know what that tells you? That tells you that that MLB feels not only positive about the Mets, they think good things. I mean, the Yankees, they think good things about the Mets too, because they're giving that's basically prime real estate by yourself at 4:00.
Well, you think, top 4 teams maybe, Jim. You got the Yankees, you got the Astros, you've got the Mets, you've got the Braves. Those they're going to be top of their division. They're going to be fighting for the top.
You get to see DeGrom right out the gate, and you got some other decent matchups here. If you look, this is on the first day because everyone the teams who played on the 23rd, I believe they're off on the 24th. It seems that way, yeah. So you're looking at. You got the Brewers and the Cubs is a good one.
Right.
2 strong teams, the Brewers and the Cubs. Who else we got? The Twins and the White Sox, because the White Sox are going to be really good this year. If you didn't see what the White Sox did in the offseason, you really weren't paying attention.
I don't know about the Twins too much, Jim, but
Twins are favored to win the division.
I don't know.
Favorite, man. They had a great year last year. The Twins are the favorite to win the division.
All right.
Here. Did you see how good the Twins were last year? I mean, I know the Yankee fans they don't focus on other teams, but
until we play them in the playoffs, we don't focus on them too much.
Well, you did play, then you eliminated them in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Well, the problem is the Twins can never get past the Yankees in the playoffs, but the Twins are good. I mean, the Twins went 101-61 last year.
Hell of a record.
You don't think they're the favorites? I mean, and that's a good to win the division again. I mean, who's gonna beat them in the division? I mean, Cleveland's not great. I know they finished 93-69.
Yeah, good season.
The White Sox were under 500. Kansas City and Detroit are two of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
So Minnesota's got it. Yeah, and they can hit. Like Tyrone said, Minnesota, it's bombs. And I'm thinking, that's going to be a good game because don't sleep this year. My sleeper pick is the White Sox.
Yeah.
Putting Grandal, Giolito's proven he's an ace. Don't sleep on the White Sox this year. I'm telling you.
We'll see. We'll see that.
They're young sluggers too. I'm not talking about compare. I'm just talking about in the AL Central. I'm not talking
Understand.
That's going to be the Twins and the White Sox this year. In my opinion, going to be 1-2.
You can't count Cleveland out. Cleveland's a good, solid ball team, Jim.
Well, it depends what happens with their starting rotation because last year their starting rotation really hurt them a lot, or they would have been a lot better. So, I mean, and I know it's hard to say when you're 25 or 6 games over 500, how can you be better? Well, they could have been better. I mean, so, you're talking about a team that went 93-69 and missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, let's not forget about that. But there's some good matchups. Where's Tampa on here? Let me see. The Rays are home against the Blue Jays. That's a good one, too, because I'm telling you, the Blue Jays are about a year from jumping off. They got all those kids, man. Guerrero, Biggio, Bichette. Those kids are about to explode. They got one of the best pitching prospects in baseball, Nate Pearson, who's a stud, who I have on my fantasy team. So shameless plug. But anyway, I'm telling you, they're close. They're close to stomping off. So anyway, baseball is really exciting. And I want to get some information from you today because I hadn't had a chance because I have been so busy working on behind the scenes stuff that I haven't really been able to get out there and look at. I know you've been flooding me with Yankee stuff from the insider, from their press conferences and their conference calls. The Mets and the Yankees, can you tell me, are playing a couple practice games? When are they playing them and how many?
Yeah, the Yankees got 3 exhibition games scheduled for mid-July. They're playing the Mets at Citi Field at 7:10. Then the Mets visit Yankee Stadium. That's on the 19th at 7:05. And then July 20th, the Phillies come in, and that'll be their 3 preseason.
And that's it? And then they're off until the 23rd, right?
That's all that the Yankees media, all she sent me. So those are the 3 games that we definitely know are scheduled, and there's 2 with the Mets and 1 with the Phillies. So it should be interesting to watch. I mean, they don't want to travel too far, Jim, so they're going to stay right.
Of course. We better get a damn vaccine because I'm telling you, I need 162 games this year. As you can see, I get pumped up when I talk about baseball. You make me come in here and you make me sit and talk about the 22 Knicks coaching vacancies and the Nets and Kevin Durant, and I want to go to sleep on the air. And when I talk baseball, I get pumped up, talk football, hockey, whatever, but I don't want to talk about any of the other nonsense. So can we please get a vaccine? I don't care if the vaccine involves lemon juice and pig blood. Can we please get a vaccine? Because I need 162 games next year. That's what
There you go.
I need to be here on every night talking about. But baseball looks good. That's good information. So I would assume that the Mets have those 2 games and 1 other game also.
I'm not sure. I wish the Mets media would talk to me.
I'm going to write them and tell them.
Okay.
Stan, you saw that he's a Yankee fan. They'll talk to me. Don't worry. I'll beg, borrow, and plead.
I mean, I don't understand what's wrong with the Mets. I mean, I've been talking to them.
I think I figured it out. Last night.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this last night, and I think I figured out. Since the Mets are trying to sell the team and they're hemorrhaging money, maybe the Wilpons fired the guy who handles media relations.
Could be.
Your emails are just going to a box.
It's possible.
Right? I mean, they can't answer you if he's not there.
But it's like the little brothers of the New York teams all have like a complex. Like, I got in touch with the Giants media department.
They give you access. They say get bigger.
Right. Well, they also said that that they're going to talk to us more in August. But at least they're talking to me. The Jets.
Listen, it's the same thing with the Jets Facebook groups. They don't want any pub. I don't know.
I don't get it.
I'll cover them all day if they want. They want pub. I don't know.
Mets
want pub. We have a lot of Mets fans who listens in. In fact, we're missing our number one, Justin, today. I don't know what happened. It was the first show Justin's ever not said hello at the beginning, which makes me think he's missing it, which means his streak is over. His Joe DiMaggio-like streak is done.
Yes, it is.
Done. At like 23 shows.
Yep. Hey, listen, maybe he had to do this.
Maybe he had a hot date.
That could be.
No, I don't know. So it's good stuff. I'm ready to watch them play. When I go on Facebook and someone says just shut it down, half of the time I defriend them. I don't even want to hear what you guys say.
Right on by.
Talking about being positive and getting something going in this country, then I'm you heard me 100 times. How many times do I come on the air and say I don't like people going out and not being safe, but if they're gonna let people go out, then we might as well just tackle it head on.
Yeah, let's face it.
Said he had a streak. He woke up in the afternoon on Saturday. Well, 4th of July weekend. Tyrone probably let his hair out. He's like me, he kind of shaves his head down, I think. But, he probably went out and celebrated and had a good time. The neighbors were lighting off fireworks like they thought they were Macy's parade over here. So, fireworks. So
hey, listen, there's no excuse for missing the show, Jim. There's none.
None? You need to sleep.
No, that's not an excuse. I mean, you could bring your computer and your stuff right in the bed with you, and you could just lay there.
On the phone, Facebook phone.
You could watch it on the phone, right? I mean, see, you even gave me another.
He would have got up. Maybe. So the Yankees, Mets. We'll get more into the schedule, but big news yesterday. So I went all over Facebook. I exploded it. So Steve Cohen, as I've been telling everyone, see, the more and more Met fans start to listen to me, the better off they're going to be, because I know what I'm talking about. And I've been telling you, and you can't deny it, I have been telling you and Matty Ice for months that Steve Cohen will come back and swoop in and take the team. Have I not been telling you that forever?
You've been predicting that, yes.
Right? Because he's got $13 billion and nobody else does. Okay, so I told you he was sitting in the weeds. I have sources. I talked to some of my sources who are closer to the Mets, who have actually heard from media relations before they got fired. So they're in the loop, and they said he's been laying in the weeds because he knew at the end of the day he would know exactly when teams were going to make bids.
Right.
Oh, they're all making bids, and his insiders have told him nobody's going to be at $2 billion. They're going to be 1.8, 1.9. He's still willing to according to what I've been told, he's still willing to let the Wilpons keep SNY. He's just not going to do the 5-year thing. But the Wilpons are no longer asking for the 5-year thing. They're not asking for that. They're willing to just let the team go because they make more money, believe it or not, just like the Yankees make a ton of money off Yes. The Mets make more money off SNY than they do the Mets.
Right.
So if you let the Wilpons keep SNY, not only do they make cheddar, nobody hates them anymore because they're making money and they're not running the team. So the Cohen is going to be putting in a bid. The first round of bids are due by the 9th. I guess there's multiple rounds. I guess you bid and then, which makes sense. I mean, everybody bids and then, they allow people to, counter bid, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't get a lot of time to do it, and you only got as much money as you got. So, if I'm Cohen, this is the guy. Listen, we'll take anyone. I've told Matty Ice I'd take Big Bird over the Wilpons. Take anyone. But if you had to choose your favorite, this is the guy. $13 billion, more money than anyone else bidding. In fact, he could buy the Mets 4 times, 5 times over. Everybody else trying to buy him could only do it once.
Yeah, and they're just struggling to get there,
He's got the most money. He's 64. He's a Met fan, right? He already owns 8% of the team. Cohen already has 8% of the team. He is worth $13 billion. The Wilpons believe that the Mets are worth $2 billion if they don't sell SNY. He knows nobody else is going to get close to $2 billion, maybe 1.8, 1.7. Although I had rumors that A-Rod's group could get to 2, but then he can go 2.1, 2.2, whatever. He's the guy you want because he's not only rich, but he's a fan. And he not only, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but he has a disdain for the Yankees. And you need to have that because when you come to the city, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you want to be about it or not, you want to be in control of the pages. And how do you get in control of the New York pages? By winning. I know we sit back and we talk about the Yankees have all these titles, but the Yankees don't control the front page of baseball of the newspapers and the headlines based on their past. They control it because they still win now.
Definitely.
So you want to come in and take over the city. This is the guy you want because this is the guy who will say, okay, next year when the Mets payroll before anybody gets signed, when the free agents leave, drops to $130 million, I'll add $100 million. I'll be there with the Dodgers at $230. I'll outspend the Yankees because the Yankees are not at Dodger money. The Yankees are below the Dodgers in money.
Yeah.
He'll say, I'll go spend it. He'll the kind of guy who will go out and say, Mookie Betts is coming on the free agent market. I'll give him $340 million. That's who you want.
But Jim, just throwing money at people doesn't build your staff either. I mean, I understand you want to get
Mookie Betts is one of the greats who's becoming a free agent in his prime. How many players become a free agent when they're just hitting their prime?
But all I'm saying is it does, Steinbrenner, he threw money at players and sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So, I mean, he's not just going to, so what, he goes and spends $250 million.
No, but you gotta look at he doesn't need to do that, Mac. He doesn't need to because he only needs, the Mets have a lot of homegrown talent now.
Agreed.
They've got McNeil, Nimmo, Conforto for another year, Alonso, DeGrom, Syndergaard they got coming back even if he's hurt. They don't need to. But what you need is an owner who will come in and realize, okay, let me add one big bat because Cespedes is leaving, and Mookie Betts would be that. He bats, he fields, he's an MVP.
Right.
And then Waka's not here next year. Porcello's not here next year. Matz is almost out the door. Syndergaard's going to miss half the season. You only have DeGrom, and Stroman's a free agent. If the Wilpons were owning the team, we would fill those 4 rotation spots behind DeGrom with 4 one-year guys making $4 to $5 million who are average. And you're hoping that all 5 of them pitch the way they used to pitch 5 years ago.
Right.
Bring in 2 studs. Maybe bring back Stroman. Maybe it's not a foregone conclusion Stroman leaves because Stroman did grow up a Met fan.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying you bring in A-Rod and J-Lo and all that, that's fine. It's still better than the Wilpons. But if they have $1.9 billion to spend and they put all $1.9 billion into the team to buy it, how much do they have left over to add payroll?
Well, I imagine you got to have some kind of plan to go into any business to run your business. You don't just go buy a restaurant, Jim, and then you can't buy the stock and you can't buy the food to serve people. So there has to be whatever investor that they have, that investor would have to.
He's got to have money to make for a certain amount to get approved.
Guaranteed, right. And not only that, you're going to have to be guaranteeing that you're going to have another whatever millions you need to run your business and to get players and to get all this other stuff. So while I agree Cohen is probably the best one overall with the money-wise, it don't necessarily mean that A-Rod and J-Lo couldn't put something.
No, but I think you would agree with me, wouldn't you, that it's a lot less likely that J-Lo and A-Rod, who put most of their money into getting the team, is going to go out and add $100 million to payroll in 1 year? Probably not.
Well, I don't know how much money J-Lo makes per year with all her businesses and stuff.
Well, it's not that. It's that, when you see, here's the other thing I was going to say. A-Rod and J-Lo buy the team, and I'll take it. I'm not sitting here telling you I will be upset. Like I said, I meant it when I said I would take Big Bird over the Wilpons.
Yeah.
If A-Rod and J-Lo buy the team, they have 4 or 5 partners. So all money-making decisions need to be discussed as a group. And that's a pain in the butt because you have one guy, you have A-Rod saying we should get this guy. And then the other guy's like, I don't know if that's a good way to spend the money. With Cohen, he's the man. He don't need to ask anybody.
That's very true.
The way he wants.
That's very true. It's a great point. It's a great point.
And that's
definitely. I mean, you hire your own GM. There's no votes.
No votes. Yeah. Let's go talk about it over a steak. This is, you'll take anybody because you're so starved to be anyone better than Wilpon. And I know A-Rod will want to win if he gets the team. I know that. A-Rod would love to stick it to the Yankees. Don't. And
he's a Mets fan too.
Right. I would love that too. But Cohen has more money. That's just a fact. That's not the lies. Cohen has more money than J-Lo and A-Rod will ever earn in their lifetime. Because J-Lo and A-Rod could only come up with $500 to $600, $700 million of that money. Steve Cohen's got $13 billion.
Yeah.
So that's the guy you want. And if he doesn't want SNY and he makes the highest bid, there's no reason not to give it to him because the Wilpons are going to make hand over fist on SNY. So who cares?
Especially if the Mets get real good and start taking over the city.
Absolutely. He doesn't care about SNY. He wants to win baseball games. He's like, I don't need that. I make enough money at everything else I do. I don't need to petty over SNY. You know what I mean? So that's a big deal. And I told you guys he would come back in. When you're a Met fan and you're rich, you just don't walk away. Everyone was like, oh, he left. Even when it broke down, the first thing I said is he'll be back because he's a Met fan. He walked away from the deal because it was unfair.
Yeah. And at the last minute, too.
Yeah,
was it like
to pay $2.6 billion, which is overpaying, by the way, for a team valued at $2 billion. He still wasn't getting SNY, and he's going to let Jeff Wilpon make decisions for the team for 5 years? No, come on. What are you, crazy? But he wasn't leaving for good because that's the difference between Steve Cohen and the Wilpons. Is Steve Cohen's a smarter businessman. And he knew that he would walk away. They would put the team on the market. The Major League Baseball would get pissed. And rumor has it they did reach out to the Wilpons and says, this can't happen again. They don't want the Wilpons owning the team anymore. They don't spend enough money in New York. And they know deep down inside they should have made the Wilpons sell when the Madoff thing happened. They know. Yeah. So MLB went to the Wilpons and said, that was a disgrace. You're disgracing the sport. Basically, they used their own, whatever their terminology was. You got to get this team sold. And Steve Cohen knew that would happen. They would have to back off wanting to control the team for 5 years, and he would come in and get to bid later.
Right.
He's a better businessman. That's why they're broke and he's not.
Well, I don't know if the Wilpons are broke or not.
Not broke. You get the idea.
I got you.
So that's pretty exciting stuff. I mean, I'm just talking about baseball gets me fired up. I could, I don't even let Max speak, so my folks Matt's gonna yell at me later. But I gave him the boxing guy. I gave him the majority of the boxing guy thing. So
yes,
because I was worried about saying something stupid. He's intimidating. He's from New York. You get him on the phone and you're like, "How you doing?"
I'll tell you, he was
like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Good." You gave me one word. You gotta get right into it.
Yeah, he was very pleasant, very good,
and he answered the questions great. And he threw a lot of names down that when I'm cutting the segment later, for our YouTube and Facebook and all that other stuff, I'm gonna definitely write them down and check out the few. Some of them he mentioned I heard of, some I haven't. I really want to take a look at Terrence Crawford. Especially if Terrence Crawford came recommended through Jack Hirsch.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're talking about two experts now.
Oh, yeah. So, they're just rolling in at this point. So let me see what we got on there. Let me see what the fans are saying. So let's see. Alexander's really hoping for MLS to play tomorrow. He said a lot of teams, they're struggling. They keep canceling games because of the virus. But got to get them out there, man. They're in open air. A lot of come on. I got to get them out there. I got to get pumped up so I'm ready to buy the next FIFA game for the PlayStation. Right. I play all the sports games, man. Trust me. We're going to have so many sports leagues at the Big Guy Sports Network. We're going to need a video game segment.
Yes.
And Max not going to be able to talk during the video game segment.
What do you mean I won't be able to talk?
Tell me, what do you know about video games?
What video games are we talking about? Are we talking about Pac-Man or something like that?
No, that's my point exactly. Thank you.
We're talking about Pac-Man. I know a lot about Pac-Man.
No, we're not talking about
All right, okay.
Pac-Man. Oh, my God. And then let's see. So Alexander said the Yankees are tippy top. That's a tough task. Well, yeah, it's always hard to be at top, but they are. Tyrone says that's why he thinks Stroman will be re-signed, because if we get a good owner. And Alexander said the team just needs a competitive owner. Anybody other than the Wilpons will be a competitive owner. So yeah, he did say, Tyrone said, he said Pac.
Of course they said Pac.
Alexander's hoping for Orlando versus Inter Miami on Wednesday. So, we're ready. Yeah, maybe Tyrone says you're talking about the boxer. You're talking about Pacquiao.
That's Pacquiao. Pac-Man, dude. Pac-Man, the tablets. And
he used to play at the mall in the arcade with the joystick. I have that too. We got it all.
All right, then. I was there when it first came out, Jim. I was at
to start a Pac-Man league.
Yeah, now we're talking. I could play that. I know how to get the.
Do you even have a gaming system?
What?
You have a gaming system, a PlayStation, an Xbox?
I used to a long time ago when it first got. Remember the thing with the tennis thing that hit the ball? Atari or something? I forget what it was. You had to.
Go up and down.
Yeah, it was a tennis thing, and it hit the ball. But listen, I had fun when I was a kid.
It was called Pong.
Well, listen, I'm not playing video games as a kid. All right, I'm out there having a good time. I'm not playing.
But now I'm a big guy, so now
I'm not sitting at home on a thing doing this. I'm not doing that, man. I'm going out.
It's going to bring in a whole new crop of fans because people take Madden and NBA 2K and FIFA and MLB The Show. They take that stuff serious, and we're starting a league in all of them.
To each his own. If that makes
if Alexander gets a PS5, I'm going to score goals on him, and if he's wearing a headset when we're playing, I'm going to yell "Goal" in his ears. That's what
I'd rather get a hockey stick and play on the ice one-on-one with you. That's what I'd rather do.
We're not. No, you can't. I can't.
Right.
Wait, I'll fall through the ice. You took
Okay, so that's me. That's what I like to do.
I'd love to. I used to play goalie. I used to play in a hockey league when I was in high school. I was a goalie.
Right.
It was roller hockey league.
Was it really? Yeah, I played roller hockey too.
Roller hockey league in the park, man. It was great. I was a goalie. And what's about being the goalie? They didn't make you wear the rollerblades.
That's true. You didn't need rollerblades, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
I loved playing goalie. All right, so brings me to, you're listening to the Big Guy Sports Radio Network, your home for New York sports talk and everything else. We are live on Facebook right now until 6 o'clock. You can like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Big Guy Sports, or you can find us on LinkedIn if you're more of the professional type. Also, if you're looking for a website and you weren't tuning in earlier, we're in the process of upgrading it, and it's being, as I guess they call it, propagated to the servers, so it's down for 24 hours, so don't panic. It'll be up tomorrow, which will have 10 times more content than it had before. Lots of writers, lots of articles, and, we have a Ranger Insider. I got to talk to Pat, see if he wants to be our Devil Insider, come on air and report on Devil stuff. I know they're not playing right now, but we got people coming everywhere. So, we're making shaking.
Listen, I just to let you know, I've joined the technology group of people now. I have my own Twitter now.
I saw that. Your wife, either you or your wife posted that earlier. I never knew.
My wife helped me get in, so that's why it's her name. It's her account.
How many followers do you have?
Already, I got one follower.
You follow that they follow you.
Right. I already got a follower. It's a New York Knicks reporter. New York Knicks reporter is following me right now. So all I do all day is I make tweets and I hassle up, the Cowboys and the Redskins and the Eagles. So it's like aggravating people. I love it. So you just kind of, you tweet at the Cowboys, hey, Jerry, what's going on with the name change? Hey, Redskins, way to let them push you around about your name. Eagles, you ain't going to do nothing this year. And, stuff like that. It's really
my mother. It took me like 10 years to teach her how to use a cell phone.
Right. So I'm just tweeting everybody right now.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about football. Can we talk about football and then we'll get to hockey? Linda is his wife, yes. Did you wish to confirm that for Tyrone, even though I just confirmed it for you?
Who's Linda?
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
Yeah, Linda is my wife.
Okay, so who he posts under her name on Facebook. So you never really know if it's him or her.
See, she does all the work. I take all the credit. She's the one that helps me get the guests. She's the one that does all the research for me. And I come home and she says, here it is, and then I research it. So
Excellent. Okay, so Alexander says they're going to be talking about NYCFC at 9 a.m. Thursday on ESPN. Excellent.
Beautiful.
Let me ask, so have you caught up on – all right, so Deshaun Watson is in hot water. Okay, so Deshaun Watson posted some stuff up that made him look like he hated Jewish people.
Right.
Some Hitler comments. Not very good. The Eagles are not happy. In fact, they're scheduled to hold a press conference tonight, and I know they're not happy, and they're thinking about cutting him. I've already talked to somebody over there. So, wide receiver, he's apologizing. He says that he didn't, after posting on social media on Monday an anti-Semitic message that he attributed to Hitler and his admiration for the Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. The Eagles responded by calling Jackson's post offensive, harmful, and absolutely appalling, and said the team would take appropriate action. As you know, the owners are Jewish. So team owner and general manager are both Jewish, so that's usually not a good thing. And then on the Instagram, he featured, he said that he attributed to Hitler that said white Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. They plan for world domination. It won't work if the Negroes know who they are. He also shared 2 posts on Instagram on Monday expressing affirmation for Louis Farrakhan, who the Anti-Defamation League and Southern Poverty Law Center has identified as anti-Semitic. Then he deleted those posts. He came on and apologized and said that, that's not how he feels. I don't know why he posted it. Now, my first thought is this, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. So when Drew Brees made his ignorant statements, now they weren't racist, they were ignorant. I said that people overreacted and that Drew Brees just was ignorant, which he was. But I didn't say he should be cut, and I defended keeping him, and I still defend that to this day. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they should cut Deshaun Jackson, because even though his comments were not ignorant, they were racist. If I said that, then I'd be a hypocrite, because then I don't like hypocrites. I think if I believe that one person could be forgiven for certain actions, then another person could be forgiven. So I don't mind if the Eagles forgive Deshaun Jackson and keep him on the team. I mean, honestly, if I sat here right now and told you they should cut him, it would be for one reason only, so the Giants don't have to cover him.
That's a good point.
Nothing to do with his quotes. It would give me my own selfish reasons to make it easier for the Giants to play the Eagles. But
if you look, Jim, if you look at Deshaun Jackson anyway, last year he played 3 games.
He got hurt.
He's got a abdominal injury they had operated on. He's getting older in years right now. Deshaun Jackson is no Drew Brees. I mean, you might be able to forgive Drew Brees for saying certain things, and maybe because he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And even though Deshaun Jackson is probably one of the most exciting players in his prime than ever before, especially I hated playing him against the Giants when he was on punt return at the end of the game. How many times did he eat us?
About that part.
Oh my God, he drove me crazy.
I didn't eat yet. Stick to the time.
He's a tremendous athlete, but he's getting old. He's injured. The Eagles are just drafted that new wide receiver there. They do have problems with the receivers. I think is it Ashley Jeffries? I'm trying to remember his name. Sean Jeffries. That's kind of hurt. He's going to miss part of the season.
What would you do though if you were the Eagles here?
I'll tell you,
it's a little tougher when the owners are Jewish.
Not only that, I mean, when you're saying something about a person's religion or creed right now, it's a hot spot, man. So why he did that, I have no idea. But with him being hurt and not playing, and he's in a bad position. Let me put it that way. Me personally, I sit down with him and see what the hell's wrong with you. Why are you going out there?
Especially a team that's been good to him. I mean, they originally had him, then they brought him back.
Well, he had a problem with Chip Kelly. I mean, that's what the problem was. It wasn't Deshaun Jackson.
Too, that he might have been hanging out with gang-related people.
That was
never
never
what happened there, but I'm just saying.
Never proven.
But a lot of people thought that added to it. Why?
Well, it could be. I think it was because of Chip Kelly. I think he was
absolutely.
It was not. He was not a good head coach. So I'm not blaming him for that.
I knew what was reported.
Right, I know. And the Eagles should have never let him go, and he probably might have had a great career with him. But with that injuries he's been getting lately, what he said, as you said, the owners are Jewish. I mean, that's kind of, that's not right.
Not
no.
Here's the thing, though. and this is why I kind of defended, first, I feel like it's a little bit different between Drew Brees and Deshaun Jackson, because Deshaun Jackson made racist comments, basically, and Drew Brees made ignorant comments. So it's two different things. Two different things, both bad, but two different things. It's like, so when I say that I would forgive both of them, it's not like if someone murdered someone, I would say, oh, they get a second chance. You know what I mean? It's different. With Jackson, not smart. And I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but see, one of the issues we have right now is there's so much, and I blame the media also for this. There's so much race baiting going on right now that I can understand how I hate to say this, but I almost feel like for a minute, I feel like for a moment, he had a minute of ignorance where he probably saw something on Facebook or saw something on Instagram or saw something on Twitter of maybe it could have been a group of people being dumb towards African Americans, and he got fired up. Oh, hear me out for a second. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
So he gets fired up. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you I can understand how this happened. He got fired up and decided to respond with hate. And before you say that that's not possible, coming from someone like me who's trying to, build a network, and I spend all my time on Facebook all day, if I could tell you the amount of times during a day that I will see an African-American person post something to incite white people, and the amount of time that I will see white people post something to make it look like African-Americans are animals on Facebook a day, you would be shocked. The amount of emotions that I go up and down with every day, just scrolling through social media when I'm just looking to talk sports, it's enough to make you angry. I mean, if you think there haven't been times that me, myself, have wanted to get upset and respond to some of the stupid stuff and had to work myself back to not say anything because I don't like hateful people, no matter what color. There have been times when I've seen white people say something hateful and I want to yell at them. And there have been times when I've seen African Americans make comments that is clearly hating on white people and trying to act like it's not, and wanted to go off on them, and had to scale myself back because of the fact that then you release yourself to the public to let them decide what you meant, as opposed to what you really meant. And social media is like a brush fire. You say something and it takes off. So I'm just saying, I'm not making, he has to apologize. It is what it is. Drew Brees apologized. You got to apologize. Bottom line.
At the very least.
It's quite possible that he read something that somebody said and went nuts, and you could sit there and say, well, that doesn't excuse it, and I'm not excusing it. I'm just telling you, based on my experience, how easy it is to set someone off these days.
Well, I that's why I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. Because to me, that's all. See, that's all make believe. You're not looking nobody in the eye. You're not looking at anybody in the face. You're making a comment out of a post.
No, but there's a lot of racial. There's a lot of people.
What I'm saying, Jim. What I'm saying is, it's not real to me. If me and you go out and we're gonna talk face to face, eye to eye, and a lot of things that are said on Facebook would never be said to your face. Trust me, or they would never say to your face.
Right.
So. I mean, it's a security. It's like an anonymous
tough guy syndrome.
Exactly. It's like It's like that little guy in a big truck that all of a sudden he's big because he can run over your car. Listen, that's all to me. To me is insane. All that stuff to me gets insane. That's why I stay off Facebook. I mean, Facebook Live on here with you because I love sports. I love talking to sports and talking to the people about sports. But as far as all that other stuff goes, listen, I've lived – I don't even want to get into where I live. Listen, I've been around this almost all my life, Jim, all right? Living in the same area some other people live, all that stuff. And listen, I never had major problems with people. we talked. We got to know each other. I don't know you personally, Jim. I do a show with you. I'm getting to know you. I don't know Tyrone. I don't know Alexander. I don't know all these people. We
know. That's what you
interact. But really, I don't know them. So until I get to know somebody, I'm not going to listen to too much nonsense.
All I'm saying, I know. All I was just trying to really say is that there's a lot of, I can understand where people sometimes, because I've seen other people do it on Facebook, fly off the handle because the fact that there is a lot of race baiting right now. Part of me believes that, and this is a sports show, I'm just saying, part of me even believes that the country, the politicians, the power that be would love, all the politicians, not just Democrat or Republican, would love to see a race war, because then they could swoop in and try to save the day and get back on top. So, I can understand what what probably happened there. He's got to apologize. Number one, which he's already done, probably a little bit more. That's probably not going to be enough. He's got to apologize. He's got to sit down with the owners and make it right. Got to sit down with the owners. And he'll probably, as Alexander said, he'll probably get a suspension, probably get a fine. Would I release him? No, I'm a second chance guy. So I let him stay. That's just me. I don't want to be a hypocrite. If I tell you keep Breeze, you got to keep Deshaun too. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Sure.
But your bottom line is you wouldn't release him.
Not until I found out. I mean, I would have to have a serious talk with the man. If I'm the GM or I'm the owner, I'm gonna sit him down across the table and we're gonna talk serious talk. We're not gonna do it over the internet. We're gonna talk face to face and see what really happens.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure. I wonder if they wore masks. I'm sure they are. Yesterday, we broke the news. Well, we didn't break it. Adam Schefter broke it, but we reported the breaking news. We were on the air live as all the details were coming out about Patrick Mahomes' contract. And, the numbers kept going up and kept going left, kept going right, whatever. So they came out. Basically, at the end of the day, it turned out to be, with incentives and mechanics, it can go as high as $503 million.
Right.
So Patrick Mahomes basically has a chance to earn $500 million.
Right.
So a lot of different incentives. Now, a lot of people kept reporting back and forth with the guaranteed money, and the actual guaranteed money is 140. There are mechanic incentives that could turn the guaranteed money up to $400 million. But, that's a lot that needs to be done for it to get there.
Jim, I go off I keep going back to what is guaranteed. $140 million is guaranteed. That's what he has. I mean, he's got incentives. He's got these contracts. If you break down $140 million by just 10 years, that's guaranteed $14 million a year, right? Mm-hmm. So 10 times 14. So that's actually what he's going to make. That is guaranteed. That's what he's got. Everything else is up in the air to me. I mean, if he gets injured, if he gets hurt, if something happens to his family, I mean, whatever happens. He's got a chance to make $500 million, yeah. But his guaranteed is $140 million for 10 years, which is guaranteed $14 million a year.
Right. So wait, what? $40 million a year? Is it 14? Did you say 14 or 40?
No, it's $140 million. 10 times 14 is 140. So he's making $14 million a year guaranteed. That's what he's making.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think we would both agree that he's going to make it past. He's going to definitely make it past. He's going to get more than the 140. I mean, he's not
barring no injury. I mean, I don't even know what's in the clause about injuries in his contract. There's got to be a lot of terms that we don't know about yet. So, I mean, there might be a clause that if he gets hurt in practice, he still gets paid. And I don't know yet. That we would have to find out. I believe
there were some injury clauses in there. Let's see. He said, so we got 450 in so-called new money over 10 years, in addition to the 28 million covered by the 2 years remaining. Let's see. The largest includes a massive $49.9 million bonus due in 2026. There's also 25 million in incentives tied to winning the MVP and reaching the Super Bowl. Gets another 63 million by March. Leaves them with a lot of short-term flexibility, as nearly the whole deal is conditionally guaranteed. Here's the big thing, though. He has a no-trade clause in that deal.
Right. And not only that, there's a part of the contract where he can renegotiate his salary too. And so there's a clause in there where he can make more money. So whoever worked this out was very, very smart.
He's got a good agent.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
Right? I mean, he's got a great agent, but, it's a good deal for him, and it's going to open up for a lot of other people, and it is the richest deal in sport. Like I said, we talked about this yesterday. I still kind of feel like it's not really the richest deal to me in sports until he collects it all.
Right, because Mike Trout is guaranteed. That's guaranteed. His money is
not only that. I mean, Floyd Mayweather had $450 million deal, and I'm pretty sure he got all of that.
Right. Well, minus whatever the taxes and everything else. Yeah, definitely.
But where they get hit with taxes, yeah,
big time. But anyway, I just want people to remember that football is a very physical game, man. And anything can happen at any time during practice, during the season, whatever. I haven't got a chance to really look at the clauses, the injuries, what happens if he gets hurt outside, if he's got a clause in there that he can't skateboard or something. I haven't had a chance to look at all that stuff. All I'm saying, $140 million guarantees a lot of money. I mean, that's guaranteed. He's got that. That's in the bank. And everything else is dependent on whether he stays healthy and if he continues to have success in football.
Right. And I look at the positive side of things. So for me, it's like, I feel like I'm with Alexander on this. I feel like he'll earn at least $350 million of that. I mean, as long as he's healthy,
sure.
There's no reason to think in the next 10 years that he's going to fall off a cliff. So, as far as I'm concerned, I got high hopes. So there were some reactions. You get the reactions. I love to look at the reactions around the league. So they had some reactions. Couple people, some funny pictures about, showing Chris Jones not getting paid. And then you had other, a lot of funny reactions. Did you get a chance to look at, I know you're new to the Twitter thing now. Did you get a chance to look at reactions from these people?
No, I mean, I'm just out there aggravating people, Jim, and following certain people. That's all I've been doing. I mean, that's my fun right now. I'm like a little kid. I'm eating some candy right now until I figure it all out. It's going to take me a while. I mean, I am following, the teams and certain players and stuff like that. But mainly my concern right now is to irritate the heck out of the Cowboys, Redskins, and Eagles. That's my main concern right now, and I'm doing it every day.
To aggravate the other teams. I got you. All right. Fair enough. So good stuff for him. He got paid. Yeah. And we'll see where that leads for everyone else, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jackson's going to get paid big time. I mean, Jackson had MVP year. He's ready to rock. He's in a championship. This guy's going to make some money as long as he stays healthy. There's a lot of good young players in a lot of different positions, and with the cap going up, they're going to be making more money. And it's great. It's great for them. And the teams are making money. The NFL's healthy. Without the fans, it sure ain't going to hurt him because of TV contract.
J.J. Watt sent a funny message on Twitter, like just with like a picture of a meme with like wide open eyes, like looking at the contract to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
As almost like to say you're next. So, we'll see. I don't know if Deshaun Watson is in the same league as, him, but a different story. But so want to break down some of the winners and losers of this deal. I saw the funny names I saw today was Dak Prescott. I got to share you one of those. So.
Oh my God, we're gonna hit Dak again. Come on, give it to me.
Because I can't show you the picture while we're on the air, but I'm going to share that picture with you off.
All right.
So they were looking at the winners and the losers for this. So some of the winners would be the Chiefs fans. They're winning their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Now they have the next decade plus of their locked up quarterback. Don't have to worry about it anywhere.
Well, something. There's going to be. With all that money being spent on Patrick Mahomes, there's going to be some not so much money to spend on other big stars. I mean, I heard that it is kind of they're going to allow some players to stay on, but guess what? When they have a big player like their tight end coming up and wants big money, unless Patrick's willing to think of,
he's going to. But here's the thing, though, we've already seen this with Brady. If you're a great quarterback, you can win with average playmakers.
I don't know. I don't consider the defense was average. I don't think. Wait a minute. I don't think their tight end was average at the time. I think it was
not. But I mean, I'm just saying they don't need to have a superstar at every position.
No, but they do need key players, Jim. They need the key players.
Sign some key players. Remember, he's only getting a certain amount a year. The total number is just the total number.
$40
towards the cap or whatever it's going to be. That's not that much money.
You just said it would be for Dak Prescott. If he got $40 million, we'd put him over the top.
Prescott doesn't deserve $40 million.
Well, wait a minute. You can't.
But see, the Cowboys are already locked into other contracts. They just signed Cooper. They signed Elliott. They signed some of their linemen. They have a lot of money spent, so it would hurt them a lot more. Kansas City doesn't have a ton of money spent yet.
But they're already signed. Kansas City ain't got these people signed yet.
Yeah, but a lot of their playmakers are young. Like I was looking at the list, like McCole Hardman, Clay Edwards-Helaire. Those are young wide receivers and running backs who are going to benefit from this contract because they're going to get him throwing him, and they're not even close to getting paid. Travis Kelce, yeah, he's going to get paid, but he's not, you'll be able to keep him. Andy Reid's got to be happy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Andy Reid's got to be one of those guys like, hey, I don't have to worry about a quarterback forever. You know what I mean? Probably for the rest of his career because Andy Reid is not no young chicken, no spring chicken out there. And, like I said, Deshaun Watson winning, he's going to get paid. Deshaun Watson's going to get paid something. And so is Jackson. So let's talk about some trending downs, okay?
Right.
Number one on the list. This is according to NFL.com.
Oh, here we go.
Number one trending down, the Cowboys front office. Let me read this to you. They waited too long. Like Washington with Kirk Cousins, the Cowboys could get stuck paying huge money on the franchise tag without ever locking up their quarterback. The difference here is Dak Prescott's ceiling is higher than Cousins, and the Cowboys actually want to keep Prescott. The Cowboys have until July 15th to sign Prescott to a long-term deal where he will play the season under a one-year, $31.4 million deal as the team's exclusive franchise tag. He said that's a bargain for Dallas. I don't know in whose mind, but I'm confused why it is playing this game so deep in the offseason. Mahomes just raised the bar that Prescott will fit under. If Prescott enters with 2020 without a new contract, the Cowboys could have a lose-lose-lose scenario when they're dealing with an annoying storyline, their quarterback unhappy, and he's only going to become more expensive.
Yeah.
I don't get what everyone else sees in Dak Prescott. Never wins the big game.
Yeah, how long has he been playing in the league so far, Jim?
4 years, 5 years? I don't know.
Okay. He's in his prime right now. He's a playmaker. You get rid of Dak Prescott. Who are you going to bring in? That's just as good. Name one.
Not about that.
Yeah, it is. You got a top 8 quarterback there. Who are you going to bring in? You say, okay, Dak doesn't deserve it. What are you're going to
would you pay for? Let's say that Dak Prescott, just for argument's sake, said to you, "I want $42 million a year." Clearly, he's not as good as Mahomes. You're going to pay him $42 million a year just because you ain't got no one else to bring in?
The biggest concern of Dak Prescott was the amount of years. That was the biggest concern. It wasn't the money.
For them, they wanted to give him 5 years.
Right. He didn't want to go 5 years because he wants a chance to renegotiate his deal.
He wants.
Well, there you go. So then find yourself a quarterback better than Dak Prescott.
Dalton play. Dak Prescott. Yeah. Here's the thing. Hold on. Can we rewind here for a minute?
Go ahead.
Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl and an MVP. In his
first he
won the Super Bowl.
First, he didn't win the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
All right. Whoa.
Let's not start getting into this again.
The Kansas City Chiefs do not win the Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes does not win the Super Bowl without the Kansas City Chiefs.
You could throw Patrick Mahomes on a lot of.
Yeah, put him on Jacksonville. Let's go to the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
Sure. Oh, sure. Okay, you're not. Now you're delusional. Now you're delusional.
That's my job to be delusional.
Okay, now you're delusional. Listen,
let me
wins and losses. Wait a minute. Wins and losses is not a quarterback stat, dude. A quarterback helps lead the offense. The offensive line protects the quarterback. Okay. The running game.
Quarterback is the most important player on the team. That's why they're the highest paid.
Well, he's the leader of the offense. Definitely.
All right, but
I agree with that.
Let me ask you a question. All right, what I'm saying here is that Patrick Mahomes won an MVP. That's an individual award, and then he won the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs, fine, they won the Super Bowl, but he was part of that Super Bowl.
Big part.
He earned that extension.
Right.
Okay. Dak Prescott has never won donkey dunk. Nothing.
Right.
He hasn't won a thing. So when you say to me, who else is going to quarterback? And I say Andy Dalton, and you'll laugh. Well, Andy Dalton's won about the same as Dak Prescott. Nothing. So what's it matter? And at least you don't have to pay Andy Dalton $35 million a year.
Again, you said Dak Prescott has not won nothing. No, he has. The Dallas Cowboys have not won nothing. Dak doesn't play defense.
Right. So why do you need to overpay him and just pay Dalton? Because you just said yourself that the team has a lot to do with it. Let me tell you, son, if Dak Prescott switched places with Andy Dalton for the last 5 years or 4 years, and Dak Prescott was the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, he would not be even remotely close to worth $35 million a year.
I bet you he would. I bet he would have done a better job in Cincinnati in the last 4 years than Andy Dalton.
Tom Brady couldn't do a better job in Cincinnati.
So anyway, the point I'm trying to make, Jim, is that he in stats is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league,
and one of the best in the playoffs. He does have a great
offensive line, no doubt about it. Has a great running back and has a good wide receiver core, but he does not play defense. And when Dallas got burned last year,
he doesn't put up good numbers in the playoffs.
What playoff game has he been in?
They just went 13-3 last year and lost in the first round.
Dallas just went 8. Dallas just went 8-8 and missed the playoffs.
Been the year ago. Let me look at
Dak
Prescott.
All right.
Hold on. Dak Prescott's numbers here, because you got to be looking up numbers there in the show.
He was 8-8. Dallas was 8-8.
Hold on a second. Calm your nerves. Dallas Cowboys records. Hold on. So let me see when Dak Prescott entered the league. This is what we do, people. When I can find a link to click on, you would think they'd give you like links to click on just like instantly instead of having to scroll. So hold on a second. Dak Prescott's stats in his career. I want to see. He's got 5 years. Okay,
right.
5 years playing. Okay, he's always put up. Let me see. Decent numbers. 4,000, 338, 33, 36. Always puts up decent numbers. Always a lot of TDs, not a lot of interceptions, okay? No doubt about that. Can't deny that, okay? But let me look at some. In 2016, okay, they go 13-3.
Right.
Lose in the first round.
Who'd they lose to?
Now you're asking me to go deep.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Now you'd say
they were 13-3. They were the number 1 seed.
And they lost. Yeah.
2017, 9-7. Don't go to the playoffs. 2018, 10-6, lose in the divisional round. 2019, 8-8. He cannot win a playoff game. He does not deserve $35 million a year.
Here we go again. He doesn't win the playoff game.
Right. He matters. The quarterback is more important than anybody else on the team.
You just read the stats that showed he did a great job. You just read them.
No, but I said that, but he's not a playoff quarterback. So what do you want? Are you telling me that you're okay with a quarterback being great if they can't win the big game? Because let's be honest here for a second. Hold on. Let's talk about the Giants. Right. If Eli Manning didn't play great in the playoffs, he would have been a bum. A bum. Right. So what you're saying is that you would rather have Dak Prescott, who plays great in the regular season,
right,
but can't win a playoff game, than Eli Manning, who looks awful in the regular season, but when you get him in the money, he wins the Super Bowl.
Apples and oranges.
No,
you're talking about Eli Manning with most of his career on a terrible team. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just a bad comparison. Again, you're saying Eli winning again, no Giants. What I'm saying is you find me right now a quarterback that's available or that is coming up on a contract that's better than Dak Prescott for the Cowboys right now. And I'll agree with you.
Wait, what do you want me to find?
I want you telling me a quarterback that right now is better than Dak Prescott, that's better than a top 8 quarterback.
I would rather have Cam Newton. Because Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl.
There you go. Well, then that would be.
I gave you a name.
Well,
I think. Look, I'm not taking you. Don't misunderstand. I'm not telling you that Dak Prescott doesn't deserve to be paid because he does well. I'm just telling you is that if I'm the Cowboys, there's a limit to how much I'm willing to pay him. And if he's not going to sign within that limit, then I say let him go.
Well, then you better have a backup plan, my friend.
Well,
you better have a backup plan.
It's Andy Dalton. And if you don't like Andy Dalton, hold on a second. If you don't like Andy Dalton, if you don't want to give it to Andy Dalton, who, by the way, is a very serviceable quarterback who just played on a garbage team, and even when he had talent, he couldn't. AJ Green got hurt so often he had no one to throw to. But if you want to say that you don't like Andy Dalton, okay,
right.
He gets skewed a little bit because he played for a terrible team. But if you want to get rid of him, you don't see Dak Prescott's going to be the quarterback this year. He's got franchise tag. You don't have to go with Andy Dalton because so many people are on Facebook ranting and raving about how good Cam Newton's going to be this year. Well, let me tell you what. Cam Newton will be a free agent next year, and he can't be franchised. So if you don't want Andy Dalton, let Dak walk and sign Cam Newton.
There you go with that. And Dak can go play for the Patriots. That would be great.
Wherever he wants to go play.
Listen.
He's not a playoff quarterback.
First of all, you're wrong. Andy Dalton played on some very talented teams in the Bengals. The Bengals was one of the Bengals were one of the most talented teams in the NFL at one time, and Andy Dalton was quarterback. So that's wrong. They've just gotten bad over the past few years. Secondly, Cam Newton got a job with the Patriots because he wanted to start. No one else offered him that job. So to say, okay,
I've already gone against him.
But you're saying you would have took Cam Newton when he's possibly hurt? That doesn't even make sense.
No, I'm saying that if Cam Newton goes out and has a big season, like most of everybody except me is predicting, I seem to be the only one who thinks that Stidham's going to be running the Patriots midway through the season. Everybody else in social media land says he's going to be great. If he goes out and has the great season that everyone else is predicting, then they'll have options. They're not locked in. And I'm not saying not to pay Dak, but I'm saying you have to have a limit for a guy who's never won anything. Okay? Andy Dalton has took the Bengals, who have rarely ever had a good roster as the Cowboys lately. Andy Dalton took the Bengals to 5 straight playoffs. 5.
And he had a very talented team.
What is the team Dak has now?
I'm telling you, Jim, all they said about Cincinnati at one time was they were most football team in the league.
Never.
And in fact, they blamed Andy Dalton for losing all those playoff games, which I disagree with.
He never won a playoff game. He was 0-4. But this is my point. That's my point. Okay. Andy Dalton was 0-4 as a playoff quarterback. Okay. He took the Bengals to 5 straight years, and they didn't pay him. They let him go because he can't win the big game. Dak Prescott has to win the big game before he gets paid.
Well, I think letting Andy Dalton go had something to do with their first-round draft pick coming, too.
Sure, but he has to win the big game. You want to pay a guy, and I don't understand that, who hasn't accomplished anything.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think Dan Marino was a pretty good quarterback?
Yeah, Dan Marino was one of the best, but here's the thing.
Never won a Super Bowl.
Dan Marino, did he win playoff games?
Not all the time, no.
Did he win? Did he?
He went to the Super Bowl.
Prescott win 2 playoff games.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Do you think Dan Fouts was a good quarterback?
No, you can't just go through every quarterback in history because let me ask you a question. How many times did Dan Fouts tell the team, "Pay me $30 million or I'm not playing"?
The price at that time, well, it wasn't $30 million back then, Jim. That wasn't the
playoff games did Dan Fouts win?
Oh, he was up there. He had a great team in San Diego.
Okay.
But he never won the big one.
I don't care. I'm arguing the fact that Dak Prescott hasn't won anything. I'm not asking him to win the Super Bowl. Can you get to the NFC Championship?
Dak Prescott does not win the playoff games. The Dallas Cowboys win the playoff games.
He has a good team.
I guess they're not that good, are they?
But here's the problem with your argument. You're saying the Dallas Cowboys win the game, but the Dallas Cowboys are not asking for $35 million a year. Dak Prescott is.
Dak Prescott is asking for the money that a top 5, top 8 quarterback should make based off what you love. Is statistics.
He's not a top 5 quarterback.
That's what you base all your stuff off of statistics. As a quarterback, and you check his statistics out, he's one of the best quarterbacks per yardage, per touchdowns, interception ratio in the league. One of the best.
I'll give you this. Dak Prescott is one of the top 8 quarterbacks in the league in the regular season. In the playoffs, he's a bum. So if you want to pay him $35 million or $40 million, or who knows with Jerry Jones, maybe if he's out on his yacht that day and he's smoking the right pot and he just thinks to himself, you know what? I'm going to give him $43 million. If you want to pay $43 million for a regular season quarterback, congratulations, go right ahead. But you know what? This is sports, and you get nothing for second place. And that's the end. That's all I know.
Well, let me tell you something, big guy. Not everybody finishes first, my friend. That just don't happen.
Daniel
That's why
will win more playoff games in his career than Dak Prescott will. Write it down.
That's possible. That's possible.
Dak Prescott is a regular season quarterback, and he doesn't. And I'm not saying, yeah, exactly, Alexander. You don't need another Tony Romo who can't win the big game. And I'm not saying the same problem Tony Romo had. So here, there's a thing the Cowboys have in common. Tony Romo couldn't win a playoff game. Dak Prescott can't win a playoff game, and Andy Dalton can't win a playoff game. So congratulations. If you are in the league, quarterbacks, if you ever listen to this, NFL quarterbacks, if you can win in the regular season and not win a playoff game, Dallas has a home for you because all their quarterbacks don't win playoff games.
There you go. They got the trifecta.
Here's my thing. I'm not saying they shouldn't pay him. I'm saying, but in your mind, you should have on every player, quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, you got to have, if you're as an owner, you should have a value in your mind of what you feel someone's worth.
Agree.
And if your value is 35, let's say that, I'm assuming that's their value because they offered it, and that guy wants 38, and you don't think he's worth 38, then you don't pay him.
Agree. But then you got to decide what is your other plan if you don't sign Dak Prescott. Because I'll tell you right now, Andy Dalton, no Dak Prescott, my friend.
Andy Dalton is no Dak Prescott, but you'll find another quarterback. When they drafted Dak Prescott, they didn't know Dak Prescott was Dak Prescott. He's in the 4th round. No, but you know how many people passed on Dak Prescott?
Same amount of people that went by Jackson that looked over him before they picked him as a quarterback.
Well, I hate to be the voice of reality here, but the reality of the situation is the Dallas Cowboys have a Super Bowl team for the last 4 years, and they ain't won one.
They don't have
it's the Dallas Cowboys' fault, but if you look at Dak Prescott's stats in the playoff games, they don't blow you away.
They have never had a Super Bowl defense, Jim. Not in the last 4 years. They haven't.
How you go 13-3 in a regular season and not have a Super Bowl caliber defense?
I don't know how the teams in the NFC looked at that time. So, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not paying him Mahomes money. You want to pay Mahomes money? Go right ahead.
That's fine with me too. I don't care. I'm just saying
Prescott goes out and helps win the Super Bowl this year.
I'm just saying you got to have a backup plan if you're going to get rid of a quarterback that can put up them kind of numbers and pass that way. You better have a backup before you.
I have a backup, Andy Dalton.
All right. Well, there you go.
Because look, if I'm a Cowboys anyway, to be honest with you, the offense runs through Zeke.
It sure didn't last year, did it?
It should, though.
I know it should.
All I need Dalton to do is be like Trent Dilfer and not turn the ball over.
So is it Zach's bad? Is it Dak's bad? Or is it the offensive coordinator's bad that's calling the plays to make him throw something?
I think it's both. But he's our offense. No, that was the head coach. So all I know, look, the bottom line is they're going to pay Dak. So we're beating a dead horse in a way because we both know the Cowboys are going to pay him.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, because the Cowboys are dumb, and they've always have been. The Cowboys have not been a smart organization since the Irving, Smith, and Aikman era.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson team. That's right.
Right. They're dumb now.
Yeah, they've got problems.
They got a lot of problems. So they're going to pay him because that's what dumb teams do. They pay people. We do dumb stuff too, so it's okay. I mean, we got Leonard Williams. We're dumb.
Yeah, we haven't played too
Leonard Williams, but now he wants money.
We haven't been playing too well recently, Jim, either. So.
I know. So, I mean, people do dumb stuff. And we all know the Cowboys are going to pay him because Jerry Jones can't get out of his own way.
I don't know. I think they would have paid
the worst general managers ever.
I think he would. I think Zach could have got paid if he just agreed to the amount of career, the years of salary. If he agreed to having that 5 years, he would have been signed already. He didn't agree with
now
you.
he looks like a genius because Jerry Jones will pay more because Jerry Jones is dumb. That's just the facts. Jerry Jones is not a smart guy. Jerry Jones is great at making money. Great at making money. But he should not be the team's GM. He should have brought in a GM by now and let someone else make the decisions and stayed out of it. Because I think he does it with his heart. You know?
I don't know. I think he built a pretty good offensive line, and he did pretty good in trades and stuff. I think he did okay. But that's
he doesn't know when to slow down. Like, he doesn't know when to stop. Like, oh, I got to keep these guys at all costs. Not at all costs. There has to be a cost. There has to be a limit. There has to be a too much is too much. That's how I see it. But he's only number one on the list. Let's get to number two.
Okay.
This is on the trending down because of the Mahomes thing. Number 2, Chris Jones. I saw the funniest meme on Facebook. You know what a meme is, right? I know you're not.
Yeah.
Where they make up a picture. So they show this picture of like this cartoon character, and he's got $3 bills in his hand, $3, and it says, Chris Jones, this is what we have left. $3. So Chris Jones, he's trending down because now, as you said before, now they got to pay these people, and Chris Jones needs to get paid. It says, let's see what it says. He was in the top 5 best interior pass rushers last year. He's set to play under the franchise tag unless he pulls a Le'Veon Bell. No one blames the Chiefs for prioritizing Mahomes, but they're in a tough spot. They didn't have a lot of cap room before Mahomes' contract. They could probably find room for a mega deal for Jones if they wanted to, but their actions haven't shown that it's likely. It's more likely that Jones will find out the hard way, whether the Chiefs will find out the hard way, whether Jones is serious about sitting out. So Chris Jones, I've got $3 for him, maybe 4, 5. I can give him $5. You know, he come to the Giants. I mean, why not come to the Giants?
Because you still got to pay the man.
Yeah, you and Matty Ice think the same. You just got through telling me if they're talented, pay him. So pay him.
Who said that?
Who else you got? You always say, who else we got? Who else we got?
Well, we got some pretty good young defensive linemen there. I mean, I wouldn't mind having somebody like Chris Jones there. But again, I mean, you're still going to have to pay the man. What does he want? I mean,
15, 16. He wants Leonard Williams money.
Well, that's pretty good trade then. I mean, maybe we could,
Williams,
you know what I mean?
It is in another world, so he wants Leonard Williams money. Yeah. I don't know. It depends what you have to give up to get him. They're probably not going to trade him. They're probably going to call his bluff and see if he'll actually sit out. You know what I mean? So hopefully he doesn't have an agent like, Cook did, who didn't tell him that sitting out is actually worse for you than playing.
Make your contract lower, yeah.
So I want to get into hockey before I let you go on with your celebratory birthday messages.
Okay.
One league is doing things right. There is a league doing the NHL and the NHLPA have agreed to extend the CBA through 2025, 2026, so nobody has to worry about a strike in hockey.
Yeah. That's like you just said, that's the league and union working together, and probably the less paid players in the major 4 sports. And I mean, I just like to see something like this where, between baseball and their union and stuff fighting all this time, and they're still fighting somewhat.
Oh, yeah. Every day. They're every day. Now that they signed it when they still had another 2 years before it was up. So they did another 4 years. They're ready to. The agreement also has the protocols in place for phase 3 and 4 of the restart. They're all set to drop the puck. To start the season on August 1st with the Stanley Cup qualifying round. It's all good in hockey.
They're talking about returning to Olympic competition, the escrow being shared at 50-50. I mean, it's good to see a league work together and get something accomplished, man. It really is.
I actually preferred Olympic hockey back in the older days when they didn't use pros.
Me too. All of them.
That's what made the Miracle on Ice so special.
Yeah, and when the basketball teams would go over and beat the professional European teams.
It's not as special when you go over there and you're like, you're stacking the deck. Now with hockey, the USA is never the favorite to win the gold anyway because there's so many good professionals that play for Russia and other teams.
Right.
It's never ever like a gimme. Like not like basketball when we sent over like the dream team and it's like, are we serious? I mean, what is
Right.
fun? I mean, what's fun about this?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's fun when you're you come through with what you got. So, teams are permitted. The teams have already reopened their facilities, as you've seen, and it's good to see that that there's a group of people together, and everything's going fine, and they're not arguing like you said with baseball because. Who knows what's going to happen with baseball? I mean, right now you got camps closing because they don't have their test results back. So.
Right. So I mean, it's just every day.
Is it just the baseball people in general, the players and the owners? Are they just all just a bunch of babies?
Oh my God! I mean, that's a strong union, Jim. That is one strong union. It's the strongest union.
Such a bunch of babies. I mean, seriously. I mean, I didn't get my test back for 2 days. Oh, you poor spoiled brat. My wife and I went to get tested. CVS told us 8 days. God forbid you went to CVS and they told you 8 days. You'd flip out. You'd close, I mean, geez, Louise, I've never seen all my life, man. I mean, I never realized baseball players a lot of them are such babies.
I mean,
I don't want to hear them come out and say honestly, like, oh, well, we're trying to be safe for our families. Well, tell that to the guy who lets you go pick up your food when you order takeout. Tell that to the person who kept the supermarket open so you can get your toilet paper. I don't want to hear it, you multimillionaire. Go.
Listen, like I said, I was glad. And hockey, they went ahead and they paid them all. Didn't they pay them all their bonuses and everything? Yeah, so I mean, listen,
they're not losing as much money because they don't make as much money as baseball.
True, but still, I mean, it's the principle, right? It's by association. I mean,
don't get me wrong. I love the baseball players. It's my favorite of the four major sports. I love them. I'd love to hang out and talk with them. It's just that I think that everybody's crying about so much right now, and it just disappoints me. It's like, chill. We get it. But one extra day with your test results is not the end of the world.
Yeah, well, again, that union is strong as heck, Jim. There's no messing with that union ever since
I just don't understand, like, why cry? I mean, come on. God.
Everything's in the open, yeah.
I mean, just play. I mean, enough. Do you know how many people are disgusted with your antics already? I mean, and now you're going to add to it?
Hey, Jim, we were talking about Olympics a little while ago, and I want to bring up something. In this day in history, Jim Thorpe, I imagine you heard of Jim Thorpe, right? The great athlete. In 1912, he won the pentathlon. It's not the triathlon, it's the pentathlon. That's 5 competitions. He won 4 out of 5. He won the gold medal, and he was stripped of the gold medal because he was playing professional baseball. You know how all the professionals go play over there now? Well, you couldn't at that time. So he was stripped of the gold medal, and he was finally reinstated in 1982. I mean, what is that? 70 years later, they reinstated him. So he played baseball. He started pro football. The NFL, as we know, back in 1920, he's one of the ones that founded it. He was amazing in track and field. It was said that he could the football was shaped like a rugby ball when it first started. So when you threw the football, you had to curl up your arm. It was said he could throw it 60 yards in the air like that. I mean, this is how talented this guy was. So if you love sports, go back, Google this, read about Chip. There's some incredible stories about this Native American, this Indian that played sports the way it was meant to be played. And it was in everything. The guy was tremendous.
But I wanted to bring up, you mentioned the Olympics. That's a good point because I was going to bring this up about tomorrow. Maybe I don't know if you do Netflix or not, because I know you're not Mr. Technology guy. Do you do Netflix?
My wife puts it on for me.
All right, well, listen, I watched a movie yesterday on Netflix. It was a documentary called Athlete A. And basically do you know what that's about?
It's about an athlete, where it started from. It has to be something about where it started from.
No, Athlete A is basically a documentary on what happened with all the Olympic gymnastics women who were so from there, the whole case. So anyway, it's very upsetting to watch how many these girls go and they start training when they're 7, 8 years old, and they go to the Olympics at 14 and 15 and 16, and for their country.
Right.
Their country. And, USA women's gymnastics is one of the best in the world. And all of these girls, almost all of them, Simone Biles, Alex Hickman, were all victim to this doctor.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is I want to talk about that a little bit tomorrow, about sacrifice. So if you have a chance to go on Netflix and watch Athlete A, hour and 55 minutes.
I've read and watched stories on that and how he used his position as a
fascinating documentary, though, to see how disgusting. Forget the doctor. We know about the doctor, but how disgusting it was that the USA Gymnastics guy ignored the complaints.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's been arrested too. I don't know where he is now, but he was arrested.
And that also happened in Michigan. I think it was the College of Michigan.
Well, that was the doctor, but the guy who took over the head of the USA Gymnastics department, he covered up. He had complaints and he ignored them and kept a girl off the Olympic team who should have been it. I mean, it's all in the story, and it's very disturbing. But anyway, so that's something I would talk about a little bit tomorrow too. But this just came out recently on Netflix. What we have some birthdays today.
Well, we got one special birthday. Mm-hmm. Brandon Jacobs. Was there ever a more intimidating back in his prime than him? I mean, maybe Earl Campbell in his prime, but I'll tell you right now, Brandon Jacobs was an unbelievable back. He's 38 years old right now.
Thunder and lightning.
Oh, well, that Thunder. No, it was Thunder, Earth, Wind, and Fire, sir. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No, you had Thunder and Lightning too.
Jacobs. Well, yeah, that's with Tiki. I'm talking about after Tiki. There was Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was him, Ward, and Bradshaw were Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I could have swore that him and Bradshaw were Thunder and Lightning.
Nah, that was Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Him and Tiki. Well, anyway, he brought the Thunder all the time. So.
Oh, my God. This dude, can you remember the championship game against the Packers, the first play of the game?
Charles Woodson, yeah.
And he came up to me, and he could have made a move because Woodson went down. I mean, he said, nah.
See what Woodson said when they picked him up? He looked at the players like, wow.
He set the tone. I mean, he told Green Bay, we're coming in there. We're coming in playing physical. He could have tried to make a move on it, but that wasn't Jacobs. And he had enough speed to get outside. So he broke some long runs.
And Jacobs, when he was drafted, was never thought of as like big time, but, he proved it wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, had hands during the Super Bowl. He caught a touchdown pass. He ran for a touchdown. I mean, he was just an emotional leader out there. Unbelievable running back for the time he was there. That's a guy I would love to get on there. I got to work on that.
Oh, Jacobs would be great.
Oh my God, would that be cool? So yeah, so happy birthday, Brandon. Great job being a Giant.
Brandon Jacobs today.
Yeah.
How old is he?
38 years old.
That's it.
Yeah, he's still
young. Running backs, they stopped playing early. Like he must have stopped at 30, right?
I guess so. I mean, when you're talking 2012?
I feel like the years go by so quick. I don't remember anything anymore. But let me see. So Brandon Jacobs last year was 2013. So he stopped playing when he was 31. Man, running backs, man, they stopped playing. But he had those. He didn't play much though the last few years. I mean, if you look, when he was 31 years old, he only, rushed 58 times for the Giants. The year before he was in San Fran, he only rushed 5 times the whole season. And then, he had a 4-year gap, 2007 when we won that first, Super Bowl with him, 1,000 yards, 2008 at 1,000 yards, and he had 800, and then he was part of the 2011 Super Bowl team too. He only had 571, but he was still there. Yeah, and Alexander, you hit it on the head. That's why I talk about all the time with Barkley. Those next 6-7 years are critical.
Oh, that's it, yeah. And then Barkley's a different style running back, Jim. He's not going to run you over every play. I mean, Jacobs,
Peterson type guys, Adrian Peterson. But let's be honest with you, Mac. I mean, not a lot of running backs get stronger in their 30s.
It's very hard, but I'm telling you, he's not the guy that you want to run one-on-one against a linebacker head on all the time. Jacobs didn't care. Jacobs would take on a defensive line. He didn't care, and he would run hard all the way through them.
Well, you know what it is too is that Jacobs, that set the tone. You know what I mean? Like that that hit in Green Bay was like, if you would have tried to dance around him, you wouldn't have set the tone of what he said, you know?
Right. And you got to remember, Jacobs was a tall running back. He was, I think he was like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", if I'm correct. Saquon's a smaller back. You know, it's harder to hit him. So I remember Jacobs being pretty tall as a running back, too. So he's just a big man. He was like 250 pounds.
And he had heart. And
Yeah.
You know? So, and he wanted to get things done. So another thing too, I don't know if you knew this, I'll just throw this in at the end and we could kind of get into this more on Saturday, but this year is the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Right.
I don't know if you know that.
Right.
The Mets and Yankees are playing on that day.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
So I don't know if you saw it. The Mets and the Yankees are playing on 9/11 at Citi Field, which is the home of where Piazza hit that big time home run right after 9/11.
Yeah.
So, that's
and what's the
feeling they planned that?
What's the date of that, Jim?
9/11, September.
Yeah, I just sorry, I had to do it.
I'm just saying I had to feel like the league planned it that way. I would.
Yeah.
So they talked to Mike Piazza today, actually, about that. And he was, he said, I'm sure it'll be a very emotional night as we continue to honor the legacy of those who perished on 9/11. As much as it's still very painful for me to personally reflect on the tragedy of that day's events, we must never forget the sacrifice. MLB, as well as both New York teams, were particularly instrumental in the recovery process, so it's very appropriate that they will be together on that day.
Definitely.
According to Mike Piazza.
Hey, listen, that's a great story. It's a great thing. It's very smart to do that. So it'll give them a little bit, something, the pizzazz of that game would be great for the publicity and for the country and stuff like that. I love that. It's very cool stuff.
Alexander says, normally, and the first thing when I just read that, I was thinking to myself, maybe they'll bring Piazza will come back and all this. And Alexander says, hope they plan something big. And then I just remembered they probably won't be able to because you can't bring everyone back and have them come all and hang, because of the coronavirus.
Well, maybe you can bring one guy in or maybe two guys in, Jim, and stand him in center field or something on a ball. That would be cool.
If anyone could be there, I wouldn't be shocked if Piazza's there.
That would be cool, right?
Piazza spends a lot of his time living out of the country now. He lives in Italy.
Yeah.
Who knows? But, he's always been a big part. So it's a pretty big deal. I didn't know if you saw it. So,
yeah. I think it's pretty cool to have that. I mean, what day is it on? Is it a Saturday? Is it a Sunday, Jim?
Let's see what it is. September 11th is a Friday.
A Friday. So the weekend after that, are the Giants and the Jets playing, or one of them playing home?
I haven't looked at. The Giants. The season opens that weekend for football.
Right. So it would be
Monday night at home. They're playing Pittsburgh. So the Jets are probably on there. I think the Jets are in Buffalo that Sunday.
That'd be pretty cool too. At least right around that time frame.
Yep. So, so we made it through.
Yeah.
We will be back tomorrow from 5 to 7 on Wednesday night. Maybe Maddie come in. Let's let him do 2 hours by himself. Come in and talk. And
I heard he had some pretty good opinions. So my opinion, man.
Did he? I didn't.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that about him. I heard he was a smooth talker, man. That's why they call him.
Maddie's a smooth talker.
That's why they call him Matty Ice, man.
I think he's a tired talker. I think they've been working him hard.
Hey, listen, we all got our cross the bear, Jim. You know what I mean? Hey, what are you gonna
pay the bills, right?
Exactly. Unless you're Steve Cohen, you ain't got to worry about that.
Right. I'm excited to see. I hope they release what the bids are. Like, I'm excited to see.
I get you going again.
No, I mean, the 9th is Thursday. So
it's coming.
I'm hoping that Saturday, we know what the bids are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be coming. I know you're excited.
Well, I just want to see what they are. I want to see where they are. I always kind of, stay a little bit back because I worry about, I worry about the Wilpons stabbing the fans in the back at the last minute because that's just the type of people they are.
Right. So, I mean.
But we got to run because they're about to get on the air.
All right, guys.
Down to the wire. So it's another good show. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll.
Thank you for coming on, Bob. Have a great day and a great fight.
Absolutely. See you guys later.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Radio Network.